guys, good morning. Welcome back to Vlogmas webisode. I do not know. I don't know what day it is. I'm also just going to address the elephant in the room, which is yes, I'm wearing the jumper again. Sue me. I am very slow today. I'm like prime cramps at the moment and all I want to do is just lay on the sofa and be a blob, but I'm picking myself up, so please consider this, my presence and the fact that I washed my hair today, as a treat for you guys, and my dedication to creating content. You are welcome. But yes, I thought today I'd do a really kind of cozy little webisode in terms of just to get to know me. I asked if you guys had any burning questions. I got quite a few to kind of answer, but also we have to run errands. I'm just keeping an eye on the clock as to when I need to start getting up and moving and whatnot. But I thought it'd be a really good one to just kind of take you guys along for the ride, you know, have a little bit of a question, have a little montage, time lapse of doing stuff. We're going back to Chunk Cookie. If you watched the last one, you would have seen that they had like a soft opening when we went last week. They're officially fully open this week, so I'm going, and they've got the shop open at the back, so I think it'd be a good time to go and pick up the cap that I really want to get from there. And it's good to take the dog, who's currently in the kitchen. I've tried to film this intro so many times that I ended up putting him in the kitchen because he just kept interrupting. I don't know why. Anytime I'm filming, like, he'll be completely flat out on his back asleep, and then suddenly he's like, I'm the star of the show, mama, and I'm like, get out. So I thought it'd be good to take him to the shop because they're dog friendly, just to kind of get him socialised and learn cafe etiquette of just sitting there looking pretty, and do a bit of training that way. And then when I get back this evening, we'll kind of finish off the vlog with a bit of more of a Q&A. So this is the plan today. I'm just going to quickly put on some lip balm because my lips are getting so dry in this weather. I don't know about anyone else. Like, oh my god. There we go. This one is the New or Nux, N-U-X-E, Very Rose lip balm. Absolutely love it. It's just really nice for just like soothing the lips and whatnot. Anywho, we've got coffee. I have questions written in this tatty notebook that I've been using throughout 2023 for all my content creation stuff, so this seems like a nice way of finishing off the last page of answering questions. I'm a bit, yeah, I don't know why, I feel very like, oh, closed off at the moment of answering questions, but hopefully I'll loosen up and become a bit more animated as and when I go through. Anywho, let's start with some questions. So the first one I'm going to do is just a quick introduction to who I am, because I had like a couple of questions about like who are you, like where do you live, this, that and the other, what do you do, etc, etc. So I think I will start with that one. So my name is Elle. I am a content creator living in Leeds, West Yorkshire in the UK. I'm also a social media manager by day, like a superhero by day. I'm this, and by night I am this. I'm originally from a city called Lincoln in Lincolnshire Midlands area. Not where I was born though. I was actually born up north in Scotland. Don't know why I winked at you again. And yeah, I moved to Leeds because of a job, and I've just never really looked back, and that pretty much is my story. Is like I live in the countryside of West Yorkshire in a little village. Won't name the village. I was about to you know, just keep there for protection. You know, don't want to reveal too much stuff. I live here with my dog Dash and my husband Lee, and yeah, we live in this property, which is kind of what I'm known for, is renovating my rental property. We've been in here for about 6 years or so, I believe, and yeah, this is what I do. It's just, I do all these little things of content creation in my day-to-day life. So the next one leads on, I think, quite nicely, which is, do you think you'll buy a house soon? Is that the goal, to buy a home? The answer is yes. I do want to buy a home. I'm kind of now at that point where I am very desperate to own property, and it's a very serious goal for next year for us to attempt to achieve, for both me and my other half. I mean, I don't diss renting at all. I think it's a smart decision, and I think the world is waking up to the realization that renting is very much the norm for my generation and the next generation, and actually buying a house isn't the sort of given rite of passage that it was back in the day. It's very much a privilege to be able to own property, and it's not always the best financial decision. I know some people will disagree with me and think that renting is throwing money away, but in terms of like, if you have a large amount of money, sometimes buying a home and owning property isn't the smartest financial decision to make, and actually investing that money would be better. There's several millionaires that I follow who still rent and they are millionaires, so that is be it. But for me personally, I'm ready to kind of just have something that I own. I really want a property that, of course, I can renovate and make myself, and just kind of have somewhere where it's mine from the beginning and I can kind of start from scratch and make it myself. Very much with like what we've been doing, renovating this rental property, is just doing what we can do in the parameters that we are. You know, there's very much so many things I'd do to this rental house to increase its value, increase its, you know, kind of usefulness to us with our living, but I can't because I am obviously restricted with what we do. So it'd be nice to own something where if I want to replace the kitchen and make it much more useful than it is, I can do that and stuff. I'd like to say we're going for like a character building, and I know rule out, you know, what happens is what happens, but me and my other half are currently leaning towards looking at more new builds or new construction. The reason for that is we're kind of done with a property that has been previously built, and I don't think all period properties like this Victorian terrace are like this. It's just our personal experience with this one, because our landlord really has not invested in this property whatsoever. But I'm very reluctant to be buying something just because it has character and then just be sat there wondering about when we're going to need to afford a new roof, or when we're going to have to afford to get new windows or damp proofing and this, that and the other. And I think there's some sort of assurance with like new builds that everything's obviously up to code. They're a efficiency standard in terms of insulation. That means they're very warm. We don't have to worry about wearing 7,000 jumpers in the winter because we don't want to pay hundreds of pounds in heating and stuff like that. And I'm very confident with my DIY skills that like I can add character to a property. I'm very assured with my level of expertise that I could make a boxy new build feel warm and inviting. So that's kind of the plan. Who knows what will actually happen, and I'll talk more about kind of financial goals as such in kind of goals for 2024 video, which will be coming up after this, not this next video, but it'll be coming up after this video, so do make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. But it's going to be very much like a new year, new goals kind of video of summarising and getting things ready and making a plan, speaking it out into existence, so actually I'm held accountable for stuff. So hopefully one day, maybe next year, I don't know if it will be, I think it'd be more 2025, but who knows what the future holds. So that's the plan. Okay, so the next couple of questions are very much content creation led. So the first one is, why did you start content creation? Or why did you start influencing as such? So I started it because it was a creative outlet for me. So I studied fashion at university, particular fashion design, but we did like an overview of the whole industry in my course. And I was very aware of the up-and-coming kind of fashion bloggers at the time, your Brian Boys, your Army Songs, etc. And I wanted to try and duplicate that. I wanted to try and replicate that myself and have that bit of a creativeness. I was leaning more towards the end of my degree when this stuff was becoming at the height of what it was. I was kind of over going down the design route, and I very much thought I might go into magazine work. I somehow had lofty dreams that I was going to be the next Anna Wintour. Dream big, baby. But I figured this would help me with sort of expanding my portfolio as such. And obviously we didn't go down that route at all. We went a completely different route, and I was still doing it a little bit. You won't be able to find the original kind of blogs that I created unless you go on the Wayback Machine, in which you do. Good for you and you're sleuthing this. But I gave it a go, and when we moved here to Leeds, I was working for the Arcadia Group in their head office, and hated my job, if I'm honest. Absolutely hated it. It was just literally a way of earning a paycheck, but I didn't have any sort of creative outlet with what I was doing. So kind of doing lifestyle content creation of like kind of blogging about my everyday living, as I did back in the day, was a way of me sort of just having that creative outlet of just feeling creative and doing something. You know, playing on my photography skills, which I'd done when I was studying like GCSE and A levels, and just kind of letting me have that kind of as it is a creative outlet and just being a bit more free with everything. So that's what I did. But when I started it here in Leeds, like when I kind of did my versions of everything, that definitely took off. I was in that kind of height of everything, of, you know, influencers and whatnot, and I was being invited to stuff. I met more influencers, and my content really just kind of expanded. It was more kind of fashion led with a bit of beauty and whatnot. And then when I moved into our previous flat apartment before this home, I went a bit more interiors route, and then very much here we were interiors led. And then it was obviously like the pandemic, which led to me doing more stuff in the home, and I think that's when content creators like myself took off a little bit, knowing for what we were doing in our homes, because everyone was so inward and such. And yeah, it's just always been that kind of creative outlet that took on its own little legs and grew. So next question is, what is it like juggling doing influencing and working full-time, as you've spoken about in the past? So yes, I work my full-time job and also do this as like side hustle slash side hobby. The answer is it's been a journey. Back in the heyday of everything, I was almost blogging every single day, and actually blogging as in writing a blog post, not just doing Instagram and stuff like that. I was also doing that, but the main place was your blog, and it was a lot. I was probably staying up until 2 AM, going to sleep, and then waking up for 6 AM for my job. Can't do that anymore. And yeah, it was a hustle back then, but that was like the heyday of you had to hustle, and that was sort of the norm to do stuff. Now we're a bit more relaxed with everything and realise obviously that kind of hustle culture is playing into capitalism at its finest. But realistically now it's not so much of a struggle, because one thing I really was not prioritising back then was like my mental health. I wasn't giving it a thought. So yeah, I have really put in place now where, like, obviously mental health comes first, then my 9 to 5 job, then this. So there have been times where I've been like, oh my god, I have to get a video out because it's going to be Tuesday, and I need to do this and I need to do that and editing, and I've just gone, no, you're just not, it's not the time, you're not going to do your best work, so go relax, you can pick up again. No one is going to, you know, no one's going to beat you because of the fact that you didn't put that video out then. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with everything. Obviously I kind of reduced my scheduling on YouTube to every other week of posting to help with that, although you guys have said you wanted weekly shorter videos, which is a bit more kind of like, okay, manageable, because before I was making every other videos that were like 30 to 40 minutes long and you guys were liking them, but you sort of said you do want the weekly content but you don't mind if it is shorter, so that's a bit more encouraging for like the future. And certainly if you're interested in more the vlogs, because that's the kind of the kind of point that I have of like, if I vlog every weekend, it's going to be the same thing almost, because it is just that kind of like, you know, go to work, come home, do this, do that kind of thing. It feels very boring for you guys to watch kind of repeatedly. So there's an element of pushing me out of my comfort zone. But something I have found with filming Vlogmas is that the kind of just day videos have really done well, and you guys have been really receptive to them. So even if it's just like, okay, I'm going to film this Sunday and have like Saturday off to do my stuff, or vice versa, we shall see. We're going to have a little roll, see how it works. If it doesn't work and it's not serving you guys, then we'll stop doing it that way, but we'll see what we're doing. But the answer to your original question is it's a struggle sometimes, but if you kind of know what is the true value and what really matters to you, and you make sure to prioritize that and know what the content creation is to you, like, it's easy enough to manage. So the next question is a juicy one, which is, do you want to be an influencer full time? Would you ever go self-employed and do this as your main job? Maybe. I never say never, you know, if I can do what I do now and make a full-time living off it on the wage that I am currently am, absolutely, in a heartbeat I will be my own boss as such. But I think that heyday is over, if I'm honest. I don't think that like that's really what's serving you guys content wise, and I think it would just, I don't know if I would want that stress or not. I'm, like I said, never say never. I would never turn it down if it did become an opportunity, but I don't think it's really the goal of this. It is interesting that someone has asked me that, because I was talking about the other day in terms of like being my own boss And as much as I love my job, I absolutely adore where I work and the people that I work with and for. Like, it is the best job I've had in ages. There is that element of, obviously, like, it could all end tomorrow. There is no security with a 9-to-5 job, that, you know, companies go bust, things happen as such. And what would I have to fall back on? In particular, to do with sort of IP and sort of my knowledge and expertise within social media marketing and just digital marketing in general. Like, if I create any sort of training documents or give out any advice within the job, that stuff belongs to them. So I have been thinking about it, and I keep teasing this like video about my 2024 goals, but that is something I'm thinking about for 2024, is can I make an element of something that belongs to me and is my IP, and could that be my safety net in the future, or could that just be my future career? Who knows as such. So I never say never, but I'm not holding out that I'm going to be like the Josies and Lydias. Like, I don't think that's my life in the future, but who knows. Now, I like this one because this is just right up my street. What is your guilty pleasure, and how do you like to relax and unwind on the weekends and evenings? Well, so my number one guilty pleasure is reality TV. I'm a sucker for reality TV. I have been back in the heyday of like 19 Kids and Counting, The Hills, The Cities and all that type of stuff. Obviously The Hills and The Cities really did like push the narrative that I could be a fashion girly, and I do give them credit for letting a little girl in the Midlands believe that she could have a career in fashion if she wanted to and stuff. Right now it's the Bravo universe. I am a Real Housewife, Trash Panda, absolutely love that type of stuff. I love it. If you are also a Trash Panda and love the Housewives as well, please hit me up in my DMs. I'm happy to talk kind of the Bravo universe with you guys. My current shows are obviously Beverly Hills, Potomac, Salt Lake City, and not Atlanta. I do want to get into Atlanta though. Miami. I've just discovered Miami, and oh my god, Gertie is a goddess and it's just fabulous. It's honestly beautiful. It's just stunning. Other shows that I do watch that are currently buzz, I liked, controversy, I like the reboot of Real Housewives of New York. I grew out of the previous seasons of New York. I was a bit like, I'm not gonna lie, Beverly Hills is heading the way of what New York is. They need to really be wary. So I did like the reboot. It was very New York. It was very kind of fashiony and glitzy and opulent. I mean, Jessel is a queen, Brynn is amazing, and Jenna Lyons is Jenna F. Lyons. So I would be interested to see what season 2 is like of that. And I also watched Vanderpump Rules. I obviously got into it because of Scandival. And I've recently discovered Southern Charm. Really interesting. I quite like it, so maybe I'll go back, or maybe I'll just stick to this season of it, so who knows. But yeah, very much into my reality TV. Let me just sip my coffee 1 second. Okay, other guilty pleasures are, I'm trying to be a bit more intellectual and start reading in the evenings. I do like reading. I mean, it's a struggle for me because of my dyslexia, but I do enjoy reading. I have been a book girly when I was young, but I've never found time to sit down and read. But I discovered this kind of like coastal grandmother author, Erin something. I'll link down below. But I've picked up a book called The Hotel Nantucket, and it's really, really good read. It's like kind of like Nancy Myers in a book kind of vibe, so I'm really enjoying that. And she's got some other books that I'm gonna pick up and enjoy, so that's kind of one of my goals, is to read a bit more in 2024. I'm gonna try for a book a month as such, because I just don't feel like I have time in the day to read like one a week or something like that. But yeah, trying to be a bit more intellectual and read a bit more. But my other guilty pleasure is that I am a simmer. I love The Sims. I have been since Sims 1, back when I was like, I want to say 11, maybe 11, 12 years old when it came out. I have most of the expansion packs. I don't have all of them, but I have most of them. I did get the most recent one as well, which I'm very happy about because it's changed my building game. I don't necessarily play The Sims like you would play it back in the day. I kind of just go into neighbourhoods, gentrify lots, homes and, you know, commercial properties, give the Sims a little spruce, and then I'm like skedaddling out of there. I'm literally just coming in, gentrifying neighbourhoods and going. That's all I literally do. And I go through phases of it. There are times when I'm like playing it religiously, and then I can go months without logging on. and I just go with the flow with it. But Bravo is for life. This one is really, really fun. Do you want any more dogs? Are you thinking about getting any more dogs? Was the general question I was being asked. The answer is yes. There is plans to get a dog, another one, a brother for Dash. I mean, if I could pick up one tomorrow, I absolutely would. I don't do want another border collie. I'm obsessed with border collies, but I just think it would be cruel to have 2 full-grown border collies in this house, in our, you know, at the moment. It's all right for Dash as 1, but 2 becomes a whole different story, particularly when we don't have a proper garden. Like, Dash obviously goes on many, many walks in the woodlands and the local park and stuff, but 2's a whole kettle of fish. So we're really waiting until we buy this home, and that is probably one of the main reasons why we're ready to buy a home, is because we do want to expand our family, you know, furry and human. And we want that kind of, like, we want the garden, we want the driveway. I do not want to play parking wars anymore, and I want a garden so that in the morning we can just let the dogs out, do their thing, and, you know, it's a bit more easier and stuff, and there's more room for another little fluffer in our lives. So assume whenever we announce that we've bought a home, that within 3 to 6 months, I would say a bit more 3, but just assume within that sort of time frame of us buying a home, there will be a dog coming into our lives. Like, it will happen. I already have the funds. Like, I already have like little sinking pots, which I call my smug fund, but there is already a puppy fund that is just sat there earning interest, waiting for the day when we get a border collie puppy. I'm just waiting, like, to get all new toys and stuff, and, you know, we may buy, or we may also try and adopt. I don't know, but yes, I do want another dog in my life now. So I have many more questions, but I am just checking the time and stuff, and I do need to crack on. We need to pick up some Christmas presents for the vets and stuff, because they've been incredibly good with Dash in terms of helping him with socialization, because he's very scared of the vets. So we've been going on a weekly basis for him just to get used to it and realise there's nothing scary about the vets. There's one particular nurse in general that has been dealing with him on a weekly basis. Unfortunately, she's not going to be here today because she's off, but I want to get her a special present just to say thank you for her time and dedication, because she really has taken Dash on as a special project to help him feel comfortable. So I want to get something for the vets in general, but also just say thank you as such. I want to go to Chunk, as I said, to go and get a coffee and also do a bit of socialization with Dash and pick up a baseball cap, and then we need to go on a dog walk. And yeah, so let me pick you guys up in a bit. Let me go and do some off-camera errands first, pick you guys up, and then we'll get back and answer some more of your questions. Okay guys, we are now sitting down on the sofa just for a bit of back support for this final bit of the Q&A. I've got a little glass of non-alcoholic Sauvignon Blanc from M&S. It's absolutely delicious and I absolutely adore it. Yummy! Hair is up because I got hat hair. I forgot to pick up the bloody baseball cap that I wanted, so next time we will get it. And I am snacking on Sir Bericam ham Torres chips. They're absolutely delicious, these chips, like hands down my favourite. I do prefer, in order, the caviar ones, the truffle ones, and the Patas Bravas ones. They're my personal favourites, but they were all available in big bags, and although I can have a big bag all to myself, I did want to, you know, show some restraint and have just the baby bag, and have, you know, a 1 portion bag, not a 12 portion bag to myself. So I have got all the rest of the questions here. I'm just going to kind of go down the list of what I wrote down. So the first one is if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? So I've kind of answered this before on Instagram Q&A. I have a little highlight if you ever want to go and check those out. But the dream was always to emigrate to the US. Like, that was a dream I've had since I was a teenager. It still is a dream. I would definitely consider it if the opportunity presented itself. You never know. But yeah, I think I would definitely, if I was going to go anywhere else to live, it would definitely be like somewhere in the US. I could see myself in Nantucket, absolutely. Maybe outskirts New York or Connecticut, like that area. I think maybe kind of upwards, kind of San Francisco if I was going to the West Coast. I need somewhere with seasons, that's the thing. I can't have like all year round sunshine, it's just not me. I'm a season girl, so I need somewhere where I have, you know, really nice, like, you know, changes in weather so I can wear coats and stuff like that. So who knows? Might happen, it might not. What are your New Year goals? I'm not going to go into them too much because I'm going to go into full detail in a different video, but as a sneak peek, 2024 is like what I'm calling my wealth year, both kind of financially and just in my life, just investing in stuff to better me and our future. So that's kind of the main goal of like 2024, and I just want it to be kind of like the year I fly and soar. You know, 2023 was definitely just more of a healing year after everything towards the end of 2022. There wasn't really anything like to aim for other than just survive the year, and there's been so much that's happened in my life and changes, and I feel like it's just, you know, the universe telling me like we're in the right direction, that literally next year is the year to kind of go for it. Sorry, I'm very distracted by, like, I've got a gap here and I'm like, why? What's happening here? So if I'm covering my head, you know why. But yeah, I will go into more detail in the new year or towards the new year, like the goals of 2024, and break down sort of my New Year's resolutions then. So again, subscribe so you don't miss that video. Ooh, juicy one. Do you regret renovating your rental home? No, is the answer. No. If you saw the before pictures, which if you go to my blog you can see the before pictures there, if you saw what it was like, you can understand why I wanted just to paint the walls. Like, this room here was peach when we moved in. Like, it was peach with a brown carpet. The bedroom was yellow with green carpet when we moved in. I mean, kitchen was pine city, and then obviously upstairs hallway was like lime green. So it's made a difference, and I'm so glad we did it, particularly when we entered into kind of all being locked in our homes, because that would have been a nightmare living in those situations with like being in a house that you hated being in because of how it looked. So I'm glad we did it, like made this feel home, because we've been here for so long. I thought we'd only been here for a couple of years, but Lee reminded me very gently we've actually been here almost 7 years next year. So we've been here for a long time. So it's been worth it in terms of feeling like home. And I think if I wasn't comfortable in the house, the money would have gone elsewhere in terms of staying out and, you know, avoiding being home, because I hated being in it so much, if that makes sense. So did we have to go kind of full hog with everything we did? No, but then again, I understand the value in terms of the investment with the content that I created. So there is that aspect of it was an investment into my potential future and financial earnings through content creation and stuff like that. And let's face it, the money I've spent on this really wasn't like as much as like it would have made a significant difference to the deposit we've been saving. It's like when the people say stop drinking lattes and you'll suddenly, you know, have enough for a house deposit. It's that level. It wasn't a lot. And a lot of the money we actually did put a lot of investment into things like, for example, this couch we bought for 250 quid on Facebook Marketplace. Excuse me, what? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Dash decided to bark at our neighbour because he was wearing a high-vis reflective coat. So as I was saying, the money that we actually did invest into this house, like for example this sofa, spending 250 on it, is something that we can take with us. So a lot of the stuff where we spent a significant amount, or at least feels significant to me, is stuff that isn't going to stay put here. Like, we did go for the cheapest paint we could find. We did go for like the kind of budget affordability on certain stuff. So even like this peel and stick, where like we're gonna not keep that and take with us, but you know, we will remove it. It was affordable in terms of cost and stuff like that. So no, I don't regret renovating the property at all, because it gave me sort of the platform that I have today, and also gives me a home that I absolutely love being in. Okay, we've got a personal question here. How long have you and Liam been together? One second. I'm doing the maths. I want to say 11 years. We met just before I turned 22. Yeah, so if I turn 33 this year, yeah, it's been 11 years. So we've been together 11 years and married, that maths I can't do. We got married April 2017. At least I remember that, because before it was a very long time before that date kind of stuck in my head. So hang on, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, so 7 years next year we'll be married for, so we've been together for a while. We met in Lincoln. Lee is not from Lincoln, Lee is from Northampton, but he went to university, the same university I went to. It's crazy to think actually at one point we were in the building at the same time, like not studying, because I always make the joke that like, so mine and Lee's age gap is 5 years, so when he finished university I was starting A-levels. And but he used to come and visit the building because our wedding photographer ironically was a tutor at our university before he moved to the US. And Lee was obviously going to see him in class. I actually had classes with the tutor, so it's like a weird little circle. I also used to work opposite him when he worked at Cafe Nero back in the day. It's really weird. We have definitely run into each other before we properly knew each other. So it's just one of those things, the universe working their magic. But yeah, God, decade. I've been with him a decade. Damn. There you go. So someone did say, what are your plans for renovating in 2024? The answer is not much. Currently I'm looking at a destroyed courtyard because we just had the window in our attic fixed. And don't even get me started on the attic. It's like currently exposed beams up there, and they said they would come and cover it up, and it's been a week. And currently in my yard, my old window's out there, and again they said they would come and collect it last week, and they haven't. So I definitely think there's another courtyard makeover going to happen, particularly as well because I had such a good time like growing veg last year. I want to try it again, and I've got plans for it. So I don't think we're going to do anything too crazy, but we're just going to give it a spruce up and grow some veggies out there, and hopefully we have a lovely kind of summer where we can enjoy it. Realistically, the only major makeover we are going to do is the kitchen, just because me and Lee are tired of looking at like mud stained cabinets from when Dash comes in from walks and stuff. We really want to embrace the dark and hide it. There's a couple of like exposed places that I'm looking at right now where like our bowls sit up on, and I want to close that off and turn that into closed storage. I'm considering moving the pantry, like either upstairs just to keep until we move, or getting rid of completely and maybe do a put in like a breakfast bar table, somewhere to work at, something like that. And I also want to change the sink tap on our sink. I'd love to change the sink, but I think the tap would be a better alternative, just to one that is not, you know, stiff and can be moved, and one of those, you know, when it has like the little like jet power wash hose thing, just because again that's something I can take with me, a tap, you know, if I just keep the other one upstairs I can take that with me. But realistically, in terms of big makeovers, maybe the home office, it just honestly depends where we are on the wealth journey in terms of saving up for a deposit. The kitchen's one of those where it's not like a really big project, it's a fairly easy DIY that we can kind of knock off in a couple of weekends. And then realistically, the other stuff we've got planned is like, I really want to redo the fireplace in here because the contact paper's getting a bit old. There's a couple of like little odd spaces where I want to kind of do up and stuff. Kind of adding on to like the wealth journey that I want to go on next year. a lot of the stuff I want to do in terms of my interiors is just kind of investing in stuff. So one example is like our quilt it was an IKEA one, and it's lovely, but my side's becoming a bit threadbare. You know, you can feel like the stuffing moving and whatnot. I can definitely feel like I'm feeling like the other side of my finger when I'm like touching it. So for me, I'm like, okay, rather than just replacing it with any old duvet, I'd rather just invest in a really nice like goose and duck down one or something like that for comfort. We've just invested in our pillows. You know, I really want to redo the cushions on here, but I'm gonna spend some money and get some really good cushions in here and stuff like that. And I think also I want to do a bit more of a year of thrifting and not just doing Facebook Marketplace finds. I want to kind of go to antique fairs and just start building a creative collection of stuff ready, so that, like, you know, when we move, if we move, when we move and stuff like that, we'll have like stuff ready to decorate rather than starting from scratch. Okay, next question. What is it like owning a coffee shop, and do you have any plans for it in the future? Stressful. Not really stressful, but you know, it's, oh, just wait 1 second. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is when you're owning a business. So for those who maybe have no idea what I'm talking about, my husband and I co-own a coffee shop here in Leeds. He's the one that predominantly runs it. I'm just a shareholder in the business, one of the directors, but I do assist with sort of the accounting side of things and the more strategic operational stuff, and obviously marketing, more wider marketing than sort of everyday Instagram posting, because I ain't got time to do that with my other job. But yeah, it was a gamble, and I was talking to my uncle about this. It was a gamble, but it was worth it in the end, and it's doing so well. And we've got like a really good reputation building up. We've just been named as one of the top places in Leeds to go for coffee, which is incredible. Like, I think we're number 2, which is amazing considering we just celebrated our 2nd year in business. And yeah, we've gone past that 2-year mark, which most businesses don't get past. We're already becoming profitable. Apparently we're about to hit the VAT threshold, which is a really incredible thing. But it is stressful because it's hard, and my husband has struggled when it's like dead quiet, thinking it's it, this is it, it's gonna fail, and then like I'm looking at figures today and it's like we're doing incredibly well for the week before Christmas. Plans for it, we are thinking of moving. We don't know where yet. We don't know if we're just going to get a bigger unit in the city centre or we're going to completely relocate. I think it's going to lead to more bigger unit in the city centre, but we're slowly outgrowing our space. We're becoming more and more popular. Like, we've had people queue out the door waiting for coffee, and we would like some more seating arrangements and stuff. So I think we have definitely talked about, like, now that we've got this reputation of being known as the best, we think it's time to, you know, actually invest on that kind of popularity and that known for status and look for somewhere bigger. It's just so, again, we can just capitalise bigger space. I have my eye on one unit in particular. It would be a gamble if we did get it, but it would be worth it. So who knows, you'll have to watch. Obviously, if we do get anywhere, I will do another renovation series like I did the last one, showing you the build from start to finish. But yeah, who knows what this year. It's just continuing to do what we do, which is be the best in coffee. Okay, next question. Describe your personal style and your home style. Okay. Personal style, probably boring. I think if anyone else was asked it, they'd be like, she's just very boring. She just wears neutrals all the time. I like to think of it as like classic, elegance. Someone said I looked like I was in a Nancy Myers film the other day, and I was utterly grateful for it. And also, I've heard some people, like, not even heard, I have someone come in my DM saying you dress like a grandma sometimes, and I was like, oh, thank you, love. I think they actually meant that as an insult, but to me that was a compliment, because I see those women that are put together and not following trends as very assured people who know who they are. So you call me a grandma, I'm going to take that as a compliment. But it's just it's always been very classic and basic. Sometimes I take a little bit of risk with like an accessory or a bag or something like that, but I've never really strayed, even as a teenager, from what I know and feel comfortable in. And I would say the same in my home, is that I think it's going to be different when we buy, particularly if we get a completely different style of home to what we've been living in, because here I've really leaned into the vintageness of obviously living in a Victorian terrace and going for that kind of old homely style. But I do think even if we got like a brand new build, it would be the same, of adding that kind of vintage heritage in there and that kind of warmth and coziness. Again, if someone described my home as a Nancy Myers film, I would just be I'd be very grateful. But yeah, it's that kind of like just cozy, inviting. I want people to feel warm and welcome when they come in our home, and I do love like when we're here and it just feels so cozy with all the candles on, playing jazz music, just having a really nice time reading a book and stuff. Like that's when I'm in my element. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Okay, I'll end this very long Q&A, and if you've made it to the end of this, like, well done you. The question I've got here is, what are your 5-year goals? I mean, house, expanding the business, expanding net worth, if I'm honest, kids, you know, should we be so lucky? That would be amazing. New dog. Just feeling more secure is probably the 5-year goal. Feeling more grounded, feeling more secure, and feeling like I'm very much happy with where I am in my life. And if I'm still feeling happy where I am in my life in 5 years time, that would be incredible. Maybe a bit more traveling. If we're going to go a bit superficial, I would love to do a bit more traveling in that time frame, but who knows. But yeah, just feeling comfortable, feeling happy with where I am in life at that time. If I'm still feeling that way, I've done my job well. Alright guys, I'm gonna leave this vlog here. I feel like I've filmed what feels like an hour's video, so if you've made it to the end, good for you. Watch me edit this and it be something like 12 minutes or something ridiculous. Well, it won't be that, but you know what I mean. I'm here thinking, oh god, they're going to be sat there gasping for a brew at the end of it, and I've actually not gone on that long, but who knows. I'm going to switch off here and I am going to probably play The Sims and watch some Housewives. I've got nothing to do. I'm honestly home alone for another couple of hours until Lee gets back from work, and then we've got to do that thing where we sit on the sofa going, oh, what have we got in the house that we can eat, before one of us just goes, should we just go to pizza? So who knows what I'm doing for the rest of the evening other than building a house. I'm gonna go and build my dream house, guys. I'm just gonna go and do that, live vicariously through Sims. But I do hope you enjoyed this video, getting to know me a bit better. If you have any other burning questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll happily answer them if appropriate. But yeah, one more vlog guys after this, one more Vlogmas, and I am literally doing one that's going to be like to the wire. The plan is to kind of film the prep for Christmas Eve, which obviously will go out on Christmas Eve, so it's going to be an interesting one where I'm going to have to be editing at the same time as filming, which will be a good one. But I think you guys will enjoy the chaos of just that kind of final lead up to the big day. But thank you so much guys for watching and being along this little Vlogmas journey with me. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. Like, rate, subscribe, all that stuff. Have a lovely rest of your day, a lovely rest of your week. I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye.